And just like that, everybody, we are live here talking about Canvas for Littles with the West Des Moines district. Yes, that is in Iowa. Yes, we do have what we're calling, oh, guess what here? We had another little thing that was talking to us in the background. We're here with the West Des Moines School District. The rock star that we are highlighting today happens to be Lisa Deatrick, who is an incredible kindergarten educator out at Clive Learning Academy, and we're going to talk all about her. We heard this story. It came up from one of our CSMs, actually, brought it, and we knew it was a cool opportunity to bring Melissa, our Chief Customer Experience Officer, on and just talk about the great stuff that they're doing out in Iowa. So a couple of really quick, wow, and look at all these friends who are joining us. North Carolina, Florida, Indianapolis, South Salem. Welcome, welcome, everybody. What a great group. Reminder to keep telling us who you are, where you're from. Carrie Jacobs, Abby Cunningham are online learning coordinators in the West Des Moines district. And they're some of the Canvas just rock stars. I may even call them Canvas friends and family that we have out there. And they were the ones who told us all about Lisa's good work. So with that, I'm going to turn a few minutes over to Carrie and Abby to give us some background on how they're using Canvas. Again, ask any questions you want in the chat, and we're going to start highlighting all the great stuff that Lisa's doing.
Well, hello, everybody. I am Abby Cunningham, one of the online learning coordinators for West Des Moines Community Schools. And just to tell you a little bit about how we kind of dealt with this pandemic, we started in April, and Carrie and I decided to just try out having some webinars. We based it on the needs of our teachers, standards like the Quality Matters, and then also our district standards, Danielson. We also had some budget constraints, so we had to deal with those like every school district does. But we started off with a couple of webinars that we thought would really make our teachers, hit home and really know what they needed at that point in time in April. So those were very well received by our teachers. So we decided to continue with that. In June, again, budget constraints and everything, we were able to do about 3 weeks worth of webinars, all voluntary by our teachers. And then in August, we did more kind of model classrooms of how to kind of model your classroom online. And so we had more focused webinars at that point. Throughout all of that, we were having on regular office hours, and we met with a bunch of district admin. We met with basically all the stakeholders, so parents, students, administrators. What does this need to look like in the fall when we start online? And what can we do to support our teachers? Throughout all of that, Lisa knew that she was probably going to have a change in her job title. I'll let her explain more, but she was a reading resource teacher for a long time. And then in August, I believe they told her, surprise, you are going to start teaching kindergarten, and it's going to be 100% online. And so luckily, Lisa had enough forethought to know probably something like that was coming. So she was in all of these webinars that we created. She was in our office hours asking us questions. She knew that she needed to do everything that she could to serve her kids to the best of her ability. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa so she can kind of talk about how she does her classroom, how she's modeled it, and the things she's learned along the way.
Hi, I'm Lisa Deatrick, and Abby and Carrie have been a huge help to me. This has been a community of leaders that have helped me be able to do what I need to do. I taught kindergarten for over 15 years before I became a reading teacher, and the last 3 years I taught 4th, 5th, and 6th grade reading resource. So jumping back into kindergarten has been a big change for me, and of course, virtually online has been a big change for me. So the cool thing about that with their training was that as they would do it, they would say, try one new thing. try one new thing, and they wouldn't overwhelm me. So that would be my word of encouragement, to try one new thing. Don't overwhelm yourself. I've been doing this now for 85 days, 87 days. I take that back, 87 days. And my kids have been doing it for 87 days. So that's kind of where we're at. Um, so I guess, do you want me to talk to you about the announcement? If I start off with my day, I'll start with my day. What I do is, what you're looking at right now are the announcements that I put up for my students. I do not have more than 3 announcements each day. One announcement sits there all the time, and that is the announcement that says, "Help, I need help with my computer." And that has a link that goes to our district Chromebook help page. So that announcement never leaves. I never have to do anything with that announcement. That is always there. Another announcement I have there is an announcement for a small group of children that get extra support from my associate. And so it only goes to those students, and that announcement is links to her meeting. And so those students will have 3 announcements. The other students will have just 2 announcements. So then every day I have an announcement for all of my students. Now I have to say, I was doing this for a while, and then I thought, why am I giving them an announcement every day? They don't need an announcement every day. Their parents see what's going on in the plan. And during our conferences, I quit doing it. I quit doing the announcement for the parents. And during conferences, I asked the parents, all of my parents, I said, so what did you like? What did you not like? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? And they said, one parent said, we really like to read that morning announcement over breakfast. And that kind of gets our day started. And so we miss the morning announcement. So I said, all right, we'll do it. We'll put it back in. And so what I try to do in my morning announcement, I always give a cheerful greeting, like teachers do face to face on their whiteboard in the morning, their morning message. And then I put the things that we're going to do that day. We're going to do this, this, and this. And I always put one fun thing up so they have something to look forward to during their day. And that's my announcements and why I do them. So then the next thing is my home page. And on my home page, the district leadership team built this for us. And I really like what our district did with this, because they decided as a team, and our technology team here, they decided that it needs to be the same for all of our students, because parents have kindergartners, 3rd graders, 5th graders. So all of our front pages look the same. This page. Now our cards look different. I mean, my kids know I've got a silly emoji on my card with little stars around it. But this home page looks the same for all of them. So if somebody has 3 different children, they know what to expect. The difference with our kindergartners is that in each column, like for Monday, it's all red, and those colors are important because our kindergartners can't read. And so then the Tuesday is all orange, Wednesday is all yellow. So they know this is a red day. We click on the red tabs, just moving through the day according to the times. And those are linked to our learning plan, which also has the colors in them too. So that's the front page that I really like how the district has organized that. So then into the learning plan. So one of the tabs has learning plan on it. So you would click on that tab, and this is what would show up. This is an actual day from this week. So you see that the days are color coded, and it's really tiny for me, so I can't really see what colors they. It looks like Wednesday's yellow. And so the kids would know, okay, this is a yellow day, so I click on Wednesday unless I haven't done the assignments up above it. So if you see that large red rectangle on the it's on the right side of my screen. But on the side of your screen, in it there are some tiny circles. And what I have made, so on that learning plan is I've added requirements. And so the requirements I've made for my students for certain days is you have to view something, you have to submit something. And it helps their parents because their parents can come and look at it. And if those have a green check, then that means their student has completed it. If it has like a little, like this on this page, this is my pretend student page, I haven't submitted anything. So you don't see those nice green checks on this. Um, so that's helpful for a parent that I have some students that are in their rooms for a lot of the day alone, or part of the day anyways, and they're learning alone. And the parents will come in and they'll just check it and they'll see if the checks have been on that. That's a quick check for them. So you can see that it doesn't look like Tuesday had very much to do. Well, what I did is I unpublished those things that they don't need to do again, because like we were working on main idea on Tuesday, we were working on main idea Wednesday also. So I took Tuesday's main idea off. There wasn't anything to submit, and so you only have the things that must have submissions in that learning plan. I do not put my learning plan, you can put it to where you have to move in a progression for the learning plan, and I have chosen not to do that. I like for my students to have some choice. Do I want to do math first? Do I want to do reading first? You know, what works best for my family, my schedule, my home? And so they can click on any order of that. And some people, I know some teachers have it in a progression. You have to go in a certain order through their day. So I guess those are the things that, oh, and I put the little emojis on there. You can see that gives them also a clue on what you have to do. So my math has the little blue, it looks like a hashtag, a number symbol. If they need to submit a video, there's a video, and my videos are usually with their writing. So there's a video and there's a writing. I have the students submit through Canvas when I want them to just submit to me. And when but there are times when I want them to submit through Flipgrid, and so that's one of the extensions I use. They submit through Flipgrid, and then I really encourage them, look at your friends' submissions, because that's one way we learn from one another. Make sure you hold your pages up so your friends can see. And especially this week, they were writing about their feelings, and I thought this is a way to share our feelings. It's in writing. It was one of our assignments in class and from our curriculum, and it was perfect for a Flipgrid where everybody shares, just as I would if I were face to face. If I were face to face, I would have my students come up and share them. So this next one is it's a simplified Bitmoji. Our Bitmoji classrooms can get really fancy, and since we're kindergarten, I keep mine really simple. And with my Bitmoji classroom, I have the hearts are my groupings. So I do not have my groupings in order from low to high or high to low. They are mixed up. So that's one thing that's kept private. And you just know kind of how the kids are doing within your group. So the heart, if they click on the heart, that will take them to our meeting link. This is on the day. So if you would click on the yellow circle on Wednesday, this is what would open up first. And so they check their group times, which they don't change. I mean, it is fluid. So, every month or two, they might change. So there's so it's in a chart. So that first column, the hearts are the meeting links. The times, that is a link to the free whiteboard FI. And so what I have taught my students to do is to click on that whiteboard FI before they enter my link and the meeting link. And so they'll have two tabs open. And so what I did, I will say all the way back on day one, not 85, 87, but back on day one, I taught them what a tab is. And again, that was not something that I just woke up knowing one of our technology, well, it wasn't from our technology team, one of our leaders in our district. She encouraged that she was sharing that that's what she was doing. And so it's funny because getting used to it was kind of hard for me because I had the kids, I could see their whiteboards, and then they would flip back to our meeting. And I would say to them, I'd say, "Where's your work? I need to see your work. Why are you still in the meeting?" And they would say, I did my work." And then they'd flip back. Well, it's just like in a classroom. They would, because in a class, they look down and do their work, and then they look up and they look around and they see their teacher and their classmates. Well, they were wanting to come back to the meeting to see what everybody was doing. And so and so then I learned, because one time I was kind of like, stop playing around with your tabs. But then I realized, oh, this is just part of being a community. They want to see one another. They want to be a part of one another. And if they accidentally click out, which that's kind of why I was like, but I'm like, that's okay. I just copy and I drop it back in, because one thing we do have is Go Guardian. And so that's why if there is a time where a student is having trouble with getting onto a link, or they accidentally click out of it, I can just copy and paste it and drop it into their page. Okay, so on this slide, this is an actual lesson for my class. This is asynchronous. It's teaching the main idea. I work with my students in small group, face-to-face, on their learning to the reading strategies, how to problem solve words, and sight words and some other things, although I do put sight words in here too. So, but I do talk to them about this too in our small groups, but this is where I would say the meat of the lesson is right here. I put a video up for my students, and that's me talking and reading through the book. I'm reading the book, I'm talking through the book, I'm modeling what I'm thinking in my head, and how I am asking myself questions to get to the main idea. And I put the words up for the parents, so that a parent does not have to sit there with their child. The parent can come, they can read through it. They don't have to watch my whole video. And that was one thing the parents told me that they liked. They said they liked seeing the words there, so they wouldn't have to go back and watch the video. And I'm not wild about them watching my videos anyways. And so that was there for them, and they could review with their students also about, what did you do? Well, it's right there what they should be doing, and that kind of thing. So that's basically what that one is. So this is one where they write their letters every day, and I will say I have learned how to make it a little bit simplified, because I'm doing the same thing every day for the instructions, and you can't see them on this slide. I copy and paste my instruction and I change one word. And so every day we write a letter of the day. We had gone through that before, and now we're doing it. This is our second time around to go through our letters, but this time we're writing them with the dotted lines, the upstairs, downstairs, and basement. And this is me modeling it. And sometimes I'll have them submit it through a video, and I will have to say, I love their videos. I love their videos. It has been amazing to see them with their families. Their parents might help do the videos, but I have students that do it without parent help. They know how to do it. When I introduced them making the video, I introduced it one day, and then we did it every day that week. Because I didn't want them to forget. They might be better than me, but I would forget if I didn't do it every day. And so then on this slide, this is where we did a flip grid, and I presented to them, and it was feelings. And I kept my goofy expression on there because I thought maybe that will make it, they'll want to go, what is she doing? And they'll want to click on it. So a lot of times I'll put silly nonsense things in my slide decks that I wouldn't want anybody else like you all to see, but there you have it. So I think I already talked about Flipgrid. So I don't know, Carrie, Abby, do you have any questions that you think might be had about that one? Oh, and I will say I make it very big. If it's a link to an external link, I make it big. If they would click on the word here or the image of Flipgrid, that image is I put that on my computer as a picture, a photograph, and then in Canvas, I uploaded it as an image, and then I shrunk it down, and that Flipgrid is a link, and the word here, they're both to the same link. So the kids could click on either one.
Hey, Lisa, let's take this quick question from one of the people watching us on YouTube. He says, thank you. Do your students use Studio, the media recorder in the RCE, or some other tool to create the videos? How are they doing that today?
They will do the Canvas. They'll go right into, because I do it as an assignment, and so they'll click on it, that tab at the bottom, and do it right in the classroom, right in on their Canvas classroom. But then I also do Flipgrid when I want them to be able to view each other's. When I have them submit just to me, they do not see it. They do not see each other's videos. So sometimes I want it to be more private, and sometimes I want it to be more community and everybody have a part of it.
So awesome. Carrie, as we moved on to the next slides, I just want to call out, I'm sure Melissa's thinking the same thing, the one word that keeps popping into my head is simplicity. And I love to see the creative ways that you've been able to be really simple and help these little kindergartners. I've got 3 little ones who are right around that age group, and I wish I could send them to your class. Do you take them from Utah by chance? Because if so, shoot me a note. They'll be on Monday. I just love how easy you've made it. I love that everything is, whether you tell them or not, you've set it up in a way that anyone could figure it out. So thank you for being such a good example.
Well, and yeah, I forgot one thing on that lesson plan too. As they move through the day, if they do it in sequentially, they go to the day, that circle of Wednesday, and then they just click next at the bottom of the page. And I made that word really large, next. But again, it's what it's talking to others that has helped me as I've changed and adapted. I didn't start off with one thing or another. I started off really simple, even more simple for the parents, and then I've gradually added a little bit at a time too, and so hopefully it does look simple. I do hope so.
One thing I've also noticed is your personality. You choose to be very human in all of this, right? How that's huge for the students to be able to relate to you. Was that a hard thing to get going with? Did you just start out of the gate saying, I'm just going to be me? And, to your point of the video where you have your funny expression to interest them, or like, have you noticed, how did you get yourself comfortable with that? Because I think a lot of teachers worry about wanting to be perfect in every way and polished in every way. So how'd you get yourself comfortable with that? And how do you, how have you seen that impact your students' engagement in the class?
Well, I do say I want to be perfect. In fact, I was telling my husband yesterday, I said, oh, something wasn't right yesterday. I had to have a substitute yesterday, and it was something that I had done. I did not have it ready exactly the way I wanted it. And I said, oh, I hate to make mistakes. I hate to make mistakes. So I do want to be correct all the time. But maybe the thing that helped me was that my first 4 weeks, I was putting out growth mindset lessons for my students. It wasn't for me, but I was every time it was basically for me, really, because, and then I would say to my students, I would say, oh my gosh, that's a growth mindset. You made a mistake and now you learned what not to do. and then when I would make a mistake, I would say, I've got to have a growth mindset, you guys. I said, I just made a mistake. I have learned not to do that. And then we would laugh about it. And I'd say, you guys, we are on the same page. I am learning about Canvas as you are learning about Canvas. And I would really brag on them for their kindness and their kind words. And I have to say, my parents have treated me, for the most part, I would say, with such kindness and such respect and patience, because I have not been perfect. Things have not always worked. I have forgotten to publish things. I would go to bed at night feeling great. Everything was ready to go, knowing that when I walked in the room, that's the first thing I was going to do, publish everything. And then I'd forget. times. And the parents would say, we can't get on. And it also helps me when my technology team makes mistakes. And I'm like, yes. So just know I'm cheering when they make mistakes. That's a terrible thing to say, but it just, I'm learning, and that's what I tell my students as well, that we're all learning, and they'll, when I make a mistake too, I'll say, oh bother, and I'll say, you know who says oh bother when they're frustrated about something? Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh says, oh bother. And so they hear me quote Winnie the Pooh a lot.
I think you saw us make a lot of mistakes over the summer. we were like, we are not re-recording this. It is what it is. You get what you get. And we encourage you guys to do the same, because if you re-record a video, you are going to be recording it and recording it and recording it until it's never going to be perfect. So yeah, we made a lot of mistakes for sure.
I love that growth mindset approach too. And using that as a way to help your students orient themselves to how to use Canvas, because I think that's one of the questions a lot of folks have is, how do we get littles who are still just learning to read and to understand some of the basics about how to navigate in environments, or just as you were describing, how to understand how to have a tab, or what is a tab. That growth mindset approach to that is incredible. Did you find that your students learned quickly? Like, how did you get them oriented? You have a lot of great examples that you show, and you're very structured and organized in how you present your course, which is incredible. But were there any other tips or tricks you might want to share with other teachers out there? And how do you do the first couple of weeks? How do you get your students to start to get into these patterns to understand how to use technology?
Well, one thing I guess, like I said, I only introduced with them one thing at a time, one new thing. So we would meet in a meeting, and my first reading was pretty much like a reading group. It was face to face. Everything was face to face. And then we would, move to, okay, now you're going to watch me on a video, or watch something from YouTube even in a video. And I have to say the Canvas staff has been helpful also in showing me how to take off those annoying commercials. I don't have those annoying commercials at the end, because they've showed me to put question mark, where to put question mark, REL. Can't remember the rest of it. I do it when I'm doing it on my own. I think of it right away. But ask them; they'll tell you. You can look it up. It's in their questions and answers. So I don't have those annoying commercials. I guess I do a little bit. I added a little bit at a time. I did not expect myself, that of myself, and I did not expect them. And then sometimes we would just play because a Cami is an extension that we use. And that first time, I asked all the parents to join in that first meeting. And in that first meeting, I had some that didn't have parents with them. But I was so proud of myself, isn't that terrible? And the students, that I could walk them through how to download that extension. The students could download the Cami extension themselves because I could see on GoGuardian what they were tapping, and I could see if they were tapping, and I'd say, no, not that one, go up. Go down. And I've learned to be very explicit with my words and less vague. And I'm still learning to be succinct. I told Carrie during this meeting, she needs to go like this, land the plane. So I'm learning.
I love that.
Yeah. So what else? I mean, do you have something else that I'm trying to think what else might be helpful.
Well, we added Canvas Studio this year, and I think that's been a really helpful tool for you as well that you have used. I saw that question popped up about recording. We have students that use WeVideo that we've integrated into Canvas as well. A lot of teachers are using video, and Canvas Studio has been a wonderful addition this year for our littles when it comes to teacher instruction.
Oh, Oh, and I will also say, I guess one other thing too. Well, while you're on the topic of that, though, I like how in Canvas Studio we have the opportunity to do a video and stop it in the middle and ask questions. So that, to me, that was a cool feature. I haven't used it near enough, but I did one time just to kind of play around with it. And so I made a video of myself holding up a flashcard and saying what letter, or no, I would say the letter. I said the letter, and then the kids had 3 choices to choose from, and then they would choose the letter that I said. But I stopped it. I made the whole video, then I went into the Canvas Studio and I stopped it at different places to ask them what letter, and then they had their choices, and they could move on and they could go back, and they could move back and forth in the video as they needed to too. So for me, that was kind of a fun thing. Also, I asked my students what they liked on a Friday, one day at closing. I wanted to just spend some time with them having conversations. And so I said, what did you like this week? And it was so interesting to hear what they liked as we were in it, because I sometimes all we hear is a parent that contacts us and says that says my child didn't like this, and so then I think, oh, I got to stop that because everybody does it. No one likes this. Well, it was interesting for the kids to say I liked this, and they all liked something different within the course, and that made me feel a lot better, because then I may offer options for them too. What I've done with some of them with their CAMI assignments, I said, oh, feel free to submit this in a CAMI assignment, but if you would rather use paper and pencil, email it to me. And honestly, I've only had 2 students out of my 26 that have done that, but that's fine if that's what makes them feel comfortable. So I try to be adaptable to their needs as well. So yeah, sometimes it takes asking the kids, what do you like? And I do that a lot. Because I'll even ask them after I've done something new. I'll say, how did that work for you? Did anyone have trouble with that? And then they'll tell me in our meeting, what was tricky and what was not tricky. And so I learned from the kids as well.
Has anything surprised you that they've given? Obviously, they've all liked different things. That was probably a little surprising, but has anything surprised you as you've asked kids these questions?
I think they like the videos. I think
Yeah.
Maybe that shouldn't be surprising. Our culture has moved that way anyways. But they like the videos. They like the camp. I also do Pear Deck. Pear Deck has been something recently that I've really enjoyed using. The kids have said they get excited, but I mean, sometimes it's how I present it. I might make my front page a little happy pear that's laughing, and sometimes it's just telling the kids this is going to be fun. And kindergartners are so wonderful that way that we can tell them it's going to be fun and we can get excited, and they do. So I can't say I think I'm blessed teaching kindergartners, but I think that they take on the challenge quicker than I feel like I have taken on the challenge.
Lisa, do you want to talk about how long your videos are, how long you try to make them?
I try to make them just 5 minutes, but honestly, I take too long. That's why I said I'm trying to land the plane. I think of my my learning target, what's my focus. I've got to stay, because especially when you're teaching, you think of all other kinds of things. With reading, I'm like, oh my goodness, let's make a connection. Let's talk about how to solve this word. Let's talk about this. And I have to go, no, I've got to stick with that main focus. I've got to stick with that one idea. And that can be hard for me anyways, because I want to share all that knowledge and wisdom, and I want to hit all with everything I can. I want to fill them up with all the knowledge I feel like they can handle. But we stick to one. I try to stick to one thing.
Lisa, I love that you're so sensitive to the attention spans of these little ones. Having some of them in my home, I know that they're not long. So the fact that you're trying to keep them short, but I also love the integration that you're playing with Canvas Studio, where you're asking questions throughout. I know my kids are going to be way more interested as a minute into the thing, the teacher is pausing and saying, hey, what do you remember about this that I just told you? Or pronounce this letter with me. There are so many good methodologies that you're using. That congrats and thank you.
Yeah, that feels really weird when I'm the only one in a room saying, "What?" You know.
It's good for you. It's why you
I have-
today are a YouTube star, Lisa.
They're going to tell me
That's right.
I'm crazy someday. That you're talking to yourself.
Carrie, let's play. I love this little example that you showed me of one of the little learners
Yes.
and engaging with that video.
Yes, we had a parent record their child recording one of their assignments for Lisa, and it's just adorable. So we wanted to share that.
But this isn't one of your students, is it, Lisa?
No.
So what's the story behind this video?
So I have a little boy in my classroom, and he has 2 little sisters. And so the mother has been so encouraging and affirming. She's been a bucket filler to me. And so she sent me a video of his little sister. She said his sisters aren't in preschool, but they are learning from the things he is doing in class. And so this is his little sister learning our kindergarten work, and she is not in kindergarten.
Maybe talk them through, Carrie or Lisa, what's being said there. We can't hear the audio on it.
Hear it? Okay. Yes. So she's saying, "Hi, Mrs. Deatrick. I want to say my numbers," and she's counting up her numbers.
Oh, it's so much better with the video.
It is. Her voice is adorable. Darn it! Sorry, we should have checked that first.
You are all good. I love to see these other little learners that are getting so into learning when it's not even necessarily their time to learn. Another big shout out, Lisa, to you.
I will say one more funny thing too. One of my students, I was talking to him, and he was new, and my other kids had been there, and I said, so I was trying to guide him through what he was doing. I could see him, his screen, and I could see him through the meeting. And I told him that. I said, okay, I can see your screen, and I can see you. And he goes, like I was God looking into the room and looking into him. I just laughed. The other kids laughed and laughed too, because he was trying to figure out, where is this woman in my room? And but so they feel like we're right there. And he's one that he left, and he cried tears when he left our class. He left to go face to face, which, I mean, I was happy for him that he was able to go face to face, but that's how much he loved our class too.
That's awesome. A couple of the things that I've really pulled out as you move on, Carrie, to that next slide. I love the idea of trying one new thing. It's so easy for us to overwhelm, I think, these cute littles sometimes. And just the idea of let's teach them one new thing is pretty valuable. I also love this idea that you've shared, Lisa, about landing the plane, which I think is so fun.
Well, and I guess also in the gradebook, I didn't mention the gradebook, but the gradebook is fun because I can share a video in response to them. And I did that especially, I don't do it every time, but in the new year, they wrote their New Year's resolution. And I was able to comment on, yes, you can do it. I have faith in you. Be a cheerleader to them in the gradebook. And so that was another nice feature in Canvas that Canvas offers in the gradebook. But thank you.
Just look everyone at the simplicity of what's happening on this homepage. Pretty easy to not get lost. Really great stuff. So Cheryl Barnett on YouTube is asking, she heard you mention things like Flipgrid, Cami, Pear Deck, Studio. Are there any other technologies that you're using and are really fond of for using Canvas and littles? For littles.
I will say, and Carrie and Abby, you might be able to correct me on this. I have tried the Google slides where you click and drag, and my class has not had good luck with it. So there might be a trick to it. I tried, telling them, do some stuff with it. So I would, you might hear some people say that works for them. For me, it just didn't work for me. So Cami is my big go-to. The Flipgrid is my big go-to for community. Go Guardian, like as I've mentioned, is oh, Dojo. I don't know if anybody Dojo is how they earn points for their behaviors, and sometimes I want them to get on and I give Dojo how many did their assignment this morning? 5 points. So sometimes that's another, and sometimes I'll ask the kids in a large group meeting how many have done it. Show it to the class, and so we'll get some feedback right there in the middle of class. But I don't know, Carrie and Abby, can you think of others that those are my main go-tos?
You mentioned
Oh,
whiteboard.fi.
yes, and that's
That's your
free.
go-to. I
Yes.
think one thing that is important to point out here is that Lisa's not afraid to try a technology and fail at the technology. And so, and her kids see her doing that, and that's okay. That's what that growth mindset. And Lisa's great about that. And so I encourage if somebody is saying, hey, this really worked for me, I really encourage you to just try it out. It's okay to fail at it. And it is Kami, Kami. There's a free version, and it has worked really well in our district.
Carrie,
we did purchase a district level of it, so every one of our teachers are able to fully integrate it into their Canvas courses.
And you get to choose different colors on it. I think that might be why they like it, because you're usually in class, you're just using a pencil. But I let them, I say, I like black. You can choose whatever color you want. But then I can also respond right on the page too. So if something is wrong, I put my mark so that they can see my mark as well. But again, the grade book, it always has that opportunity to not just share a video, but comments too. So with their writing, I always comment just as if I were in the classroom. And I say, you did, I don't make it fancy. You put a period at the end of every sentence. And then I put a smiley emoji, just as I would in the classroom. So my comments are not fancy. They're just like, this is what you did well. Good job.
Awesome. We are so impressed, Lisa. Thanks for all the great work that you're doing. Carrie and Abby, congrats on building some incredible things. I am going to ask you one more question, Lisa, and then I'm going to turn a little bit of time over to Melissa just to wrap things up for us. So, Lisa, we talked about, a couple of the things that kind of surprised you. The fact that we shouldn't be, but you were a little bit surprised about how into video they were. Anything else that you would say for a teacher who's starting with little? Sometimes we might hear Canvas isn't for littles. That's absolutely not true. We're seeing teachers who are just doing incredible things like Lisa. Where would you start if you were teaching other kindergarten teachers how to use Canvas for littles? What would your advice be?
I would say, don't do it alone. Go to someone who's been there, done that, someone in your technology department, or I've learned even from the older grades, and try to envision that. How can we get a kindergartner to do this? And so I would say on that front page, maybe not have all of those different tabs, limit it to three. And that's just 3 things that first day. Watch these videos. Next, watch these videos. And I did not have any assignment submissions to begin with. I gave the kids just some free time to build community with one another and get comfortable with moving through the course. And then I think maybe my 3rd week, we started with the videos. And the Canvas and the Pear Decks, those have been after probably day 45, 50, something like that. So videos were my main go-to at the beginning. And they're really not that hard for kids to do. And I thought they would take super long. That was my fear. And at Flipgrid, you could limit it. But they don't. They do exactly they have done exactly. And then their personalities come out at the end. So one kid because I always told them, to begin, hello, Mrs. Deatrick and friends in Flipgrid. And so she begins all of her videos like that. And she said, hello, Mrs. Deatrick, again.
I think one really important thing to note also is that Lisa does not think her kindergartners can't do it. They just need to learn it, and we're not ready yet. So I think a lot of people, we've heard it a lot. Oh, my kids could never do that. My students could never do that. That's not true. Kids can do it. They just need to be taught how to do it. They're willing to learn, and they're actually probably better with technology than we are. So Lisa does not have that thought in her head that her kindergartners can't do it. And that's why she's had such great success.
That's awesome, Abby. And if I can build on that, Mark, as maybe the wrap up, there were a couple of things that just kind of gave me goosebumps in a really good way as you were sharing all of the work that you've done, Lisa and Carrie and Abby, as you've shared as well. And one of them is that, like, there's no limits. It's very clear in your classroom, there's no limits. And that is such an awesome mindset and something that I know I need to be doing in my own teaching. Similarly, the expression of who you are and how we can all just be ourselves, that's incredibly powerful and really clear to me, something that's important in your classroom. And then finally, back to something that a lot of people have commented on is that growth mindset. Oh my gosh, you live and embody that. And I think that is why your students love your class, but that also why you're having such an impact on them and their parents, because I'm sure that growth mindset is just oozing into the family. And wow, what a powerful way to have an impact. So thank you for sharing your story, and like I said, goosebumps along the way for sure.
Thank you for providing us with a way that all of our students can have access to learning during this difficult time. I do appreciate what you're doing and the changes that are taking place, and how you're making it available to all of our students. So thank you.
That was another one of those goosebump moments, if you're wondering, Lisa.
And also Carrie has really pushed those requests. Carrie, you've got to give a plug for when you want something added to Canvas, vote for it. She shares with us, what she said. She asks us, what do you guys want? And then she puts it out there and says, vote for this. So
it's a team effort.
So
that's
Canvas,
awesome.
Yeah, Canvas, thank you for listening to us too.
Yes.
We're glad to hear that always. Huge congrats to Ms. Deatrick, Carrie, Abby. Thanks for bringing the story up to us. Yes, for those questions that have come in, we do have these available. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's just Canvas LMS, and you can see 150 plus of these fun little things. I mean, it could be your weekend binge watching if you wanted it to be. Good luck, have fun, pop some popcorn. Again, thanks to this incredible district, these incredible educators. We are back on Monday morning, actually, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, to talk about these new education stimulus funds that are available. So you might want to check in so that we can help you understand what can you use it for, how can we help you in the future. With that, thanks again, everyone. Have a great day and a good weekend.
Thank you.